We're live.
We are live.
We're live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Brick and Mortar's 4-day boot camp. I am your host, Kyle Strubing, here with my life partner, business partner, Joanne Mester, soon to be Strubing. Joanne, babe, how we doing today?
I am pumped. I am
Pumped.
so excited. We've been pumped all morning for this. So excited. Day one. If you're just hopping on here, we'd love to know where you're coming in from. So tell us where you're located in the chat. We'd love to see it. We are in we are in Flower Mound,
We're
Texas.
live from Flower Mound, yeah.
Yeah, it's our store is in Coppell, Texas, but Kyle grew up in Chicago.
Yep.
I grew up in Austin. So we want to see where everybody's representing this morning. So, or this afternoon, depending on where you're tuning in from. So hop in the chat. Tell us where you're coming in from. We are so excited. We will get started here in a minute or two. Just going to let everybody filter in here.
We have some nuggets for you today.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
The community in the Facebook
Yes.
has been on fire. So cool to watch. And I love hearing everybody introduce themselves, telling us what type of businesses that they want to open. It is so phenomenal, so exciting. It just gets me pumped, exhilarated.
Yeah.
Yes. Have you seen anything
cool? It brings it back. I'm still down with the old cigar lounge.
Yeah.
Still, that's right up my alley. I love that one. That was
Yes.
and everybody's just so neat, you get to see kind of your passions and stuff like that. And we'll go into a lot of this, but like that's kind of where it starts, right?
Let's see. It looks like the chat is disabled for some reason. Abriana, do you know? Can you check on that? Let's see. See if we got to get you guys in the chat.
I get to chat.
Let's see.
It should be good.
Okay, we are good now. Hop over to that chat. Let's get in there. Awesome. Abriana is our community manager. You've probably seen her interacting with you in the Facebook group. So she will be in the chat today. So pop in there. She'll be answering your questions, and we will be doing some Q&A today. So put your questions in the chat. Let's see, we've got Fort Lauderdale, Savannah, New Jersey, Kentucky,
Arlington, Texas. Let's go.
Yeah. Las Vegas, Chicago, San Francisco, Long Island. I'm loving this.
Nationwide. I love it.
Durham, Brooklyn, New York. How fun. I think we've got all the coasts represented. Tucson, Huntsville, Baltimore. Ooh, dry cleaner in Chicago. I love it. Love it.
Chicago people.
Yes, yes. That's awesome. Well, thank you all for tuning in today. We are going to go ahead and kick off. We've got a ton of information for you over the next 4 days. Today, we'll be focusing on how to validate your business idea. So you guys ready to dive in? Give us yes in the chat. We are going to just jump right in today. Love it. All right, so for the next 4 days, we'll be bringing a different topic to you live. Same time every day, 12 o'clock Central, 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock Pacific. We're making it super easy for you to remember, same time. Today's topic will be how to validate your business idea. Tomorrow, we're going to be diving into the 4 key decisions. The 8th is going to be a stellar topic on how to find a profitable location. Even if you already have a location, I highly recommend you join. It's going to be a great one. And then the last day is how to fund your business. And we're even coming with a bonus training on Monday. It's a mood board workshop. So we are all about really creating and crafting an experience in your brick and mortar business. And we're going to walk you through exactly how to do that. And it's very interactive. So you'll be able to start brainstorming on ways that you can do that. So super excited for this. Don't forget to download the workbook. Ariana is going to put the link to the workbook in the chat, but the workbook coincides with each lesson. So after the lesson today, go check the workbook. It's going to allow you to put what you're learning into action. If you listen to my mindset live this morning in the Facebook group, I talked about how action really helps you build that clarity in your business. So if you could just take one action by getting in that workbook, we highly, highly recommend it. All right, you guys made the commitment to invest in yourself today and show up here live. So give yourself a pat on the back. I highly recommend that you turn off all those distractions, set aside your phone. I think Kyle was just muting his now. Turn off the email and let's spend this time together, really interacting in the chat. We're going to make this as fun as possible for you. So let's focus on this for the next hour. All right, today's lesson is all about how to validate your business idea. So we're going to kind of take you back to some fundamentals here by giving you 4 strategies so that you can confidently open your brick and mortar business. By the end, sorry, y'all. By the end of our time together today, you are going to learn the 4 key strategies to validate your business idea so that you can confidently open your business without any uncertainty or second thoughts. I know confidence moving forward as you open your business and you're investing all this time and money and energy into opening, it can be really scary. And so the goal of today is to allow you to build that confidence, to know that you're moving in the right direction with your business idea. All right.
So then at the end, make sure you stay with us all the way through. We're going to open it up to questions. Any questions you guys may have. It doesn't necessarily even have to be super pertaining to these topics. If you want to ask us something personally, we're an open book. That's one thing we've always been. I don't have any problem telling you how the sausage is made, kind of how they say. Yeah, it's it definitely, if you guys have any questions, please feel free and ask. We're here. We want to be a resource for you guys, and we are here for that. Absolutely.
So as we go along, you can put those questions in the chat and we will filter through them at the end.
So a little bit about us, obviously something about our story. We like to tell our story to our customers because, to be honest with you, it sells, it relates, and it sells. We opened our first store in 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And things rapidly took off. We got involved with the franchise and found some, in fact, I won't say easy, but we found some pathways to be able to expand quickly. We took that opportunity. We opened multiple stores across the DFW area. We were involved with stores across the whole country. We had interests in stores across the whole country, and it was a way for us to really, take our expertise and grow from it. Yeah, it's been great. Now we only have 1 brick and mortar store. We've sold multiple stores. We've sold 1 store multiple times. We've haven't defaulted or closed on any stores, knock on wood, but we have gotten in leases, out of leases, which is important to know. We've been able to expand and then consolidate. We made a good amount of money off of selling the stores. That was probably one of our goals in the beginning. We took that money and really pivoted and reinvested in our current store. Now it went from a small little CBD shop to a massive wellness center right now. We do both products and services there. There's a mix. I would say we're about at that store about 60% product, 40% services, and it is rapidly moving towards a lot more towards services, which for me, I personally like. I love the products, don't get me wrong, but I enjoy the services. I enjoy the interaction. And honestly, I enjoy the profits. I enjoy the profit margins on it. So that's kind of one of my things. We are, as I've said before, we are engaged. We are getting married September 16th in Mineral Wells, Texas, on the Brazos River, a super Texan thing. I'm excited. Joanne was just on her bachelorette party this past weekend. She made it back, smiley and sun-kissed. We have our family involves Roxy the chocolate lab, 6 years old, and our puppy Ollie, who is about 7 months old now. It's pretty crazy. So we love him. We love all that.
His nickname is Dennis the Menace.
And his nickname
Yeah.
is Dennis the Menace. Yeah, he gets into everything. We like to hike, we like the outdoors, we like to train, we love business. This is one of our passions. I think this is, you know, kind of one of our strengths. We have been able to juggle, you know, personal and professional, and be able to develop both of those relationships. Sometimes it hasn't been easy. I'll definitely, you know, I will admit to that, but it has been a huge part of our relationship. And then it's just a picture of us in the you know, in our store there in Capel.
Love it.
So yeah, that's a little bit about us.
So the reason we wanted to share with you a little bit about our story is, you know, it's really allowed us so much in our life. 5 years ago, I don't think I would have saw what it's done for us to open at one brick and mortar business that quickly turned into multiple locations. We were both working 9 to 5 businesses at the time, and we were just looking for a small way to bring in some extra income. We never thought we would even leave our 9 to 5s. We just thought we'd have this little franchise on the side that we could manage, but it grew so quickly and so fast that we wound up leaving our jobs and going in full time. And it's brought us so much flexibility in our day-to-day lives. I was telling Kyle, when I was at the bachelorette party this weekend, that I was never able to take a vacation and fully disconnect when I was at my office job. I was always wondering what was going on in the office, what I was going to come back to on Monday, and all those emails. And it's really allowed so much freedom for those things. It's given us more purpose and making an impact on others. It's incredible, the stories and the customers that we get to interact with every day. And they come back and tell us how much a product or a service has impacted their life. And that to us is just so
That's the
fulfilling.
biggest thing, I think, right? I mean, the nature of our business with being in wellness, we've now, after doing this for 5 years, like I now have customers who come in who have, I mean, we didn't help them beat cancer, but we helped them. You know, like there's people who now are in remission from cancer and stuff like that. And that to me is really something. Like even if you have a product that was used for something, we've sold candles to people in their weddings. And I mean, it's just we're the story that's part of these people's lives. And to me, that's been really big.
Yeah,
That's
building
been
those
really big.
relationships. And of course, the financial freedom, you know, being able to make money and know how to make money on your own, and you're not tied to your boss's goals and dreams.
Right.
You're tied to your own goals and dreams. And I think that's just something that has evolved so much and meant so much more to have that financial security. So I'd love to know, what is your why? Why did you sign up for this boot camp and enroll? Why did you show up today? What are you hoping to get out of a brick and mortar business? Is it find that purpose and passion? Is it to find more financial security? Is it just that you want to leave your 9 to 5? Or maybe you're like us and you just wanted a side hustle in the beginning? Like, I'd love if you put in the chat your reason, your why, and tell us why you showed up
And if
today.
it is financial gain, what is that financial gain for? What are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to purchase a new home? Are you trying to, you know, I don't know, give back to the community more? Whatever that is, don't just focus on necessarily, really dig a little bit and turn into yourself and figure out what is your true why on a kind of molecular level.
I love this. Strengthen your coaching skills for
Love
brick
it.
and mortar clients as a brand strategist.
Love
That's amazing. Love that. Leave my 9 to 5. Live my purpose and no longer someone else's. That's
Nice.
amazing.
Being your own boss is a huge thing.
Yes.
That's a huge thing.
Sorry, the chat's going so
That's
fast. I can't
going
read
crazy.
it.
That's good. That's good.
That's incredible. I want to give the world a new experience when they walk in.
Yes.
Love that.
Yes.
Love that.
Yes.
It's all about experiences, and it's amazing what you can bring to people in your local community that maybe they've never seen or had before. Yes, in my community. Yep, that's what somebody just said, that put something in the
Indeed.
community that they don't have. Right, bingo, right on it. To support your nonprofit. What a beautiful passion. That's awesome. You guys are incredible. I want you to remember
guys
this
get it.
why and keep that in the back of your mind. When you first get started in brick and mortar business, it's tough. Like, it is hard to move forward. And so remembering that why, I encourage you, write it down on a post-it, put it on your desk or put it on your mirror, and remember, like, what is the why of why you're doing this day in and day out, and keep that in the back of your mind. That's incredible. Thank you all for hopping in the chat there. Opening a brick and mortar business is an extremely powerful way to make an impact on the world and your local community while growing your income and freedom to life-changing levels. And we have seen that not only with ourselves, but with tons of students that we have worked with. And we are just firm believers that brick and mortar business is not dead. It is thriving, and we have seen people take it to incredible levels.
Yeah.
So where are we going today? I always like to tell you what we're doing so you know what to expect today. So we are going to take you back to the fundamentals a little bit, back to the basics. But I want you to hang in here with me, because I know sometimes it can sound too simple, too easy, but anytime Kyle and I make any change in our business, or we're kind of just stuck in a rut, we always go back to the basics, back to those fundamentals. And it creates so much clarity on our vision to really take a step back and look at all of the basics, to laying that foundation for all the decisions to come.
Think about it as like even a baseball player, right? A professional baseball player. They're always working on, the basics of their stance and stuff like that. Whenever some guy's going through a slump, or like an NBA player, like they're working on their free throws all the time. They're working on whatever that may be, the breakdown of it. And because once you can get away from that, as we can, think that we're experts or whatever, that we're too, almost too cool for school. And then you do need to kind of humble yourself sometimes and go through.
Yeah. So we'll be talking about the different types of brick and mortar businesses. And within that, we're going to share with you the pros and cons of each business type. It's really good to know the good, the bad, and the ugly, so that you can prepare for all of that. And it will allow you to be better, sustainable long-term.
And for those of you that do have a business, this could be a way for you to see something else, another way of opportunity as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll then be taking you through the 4 strategies to validate your business idea so that you can gain that confidence. And then we're going to open it up for some Q&A so we can answer your specific questions.
Yep.
So let's dive right in. Tell us if you're ready in the chat, and let's do this. I'm pumped. All right, so we're going to start off with identifying your business type. So Kyle, you're going to kick us off with, before we dive in, I did want to just take a step back here. Sometimes when we go over the pros and cons, people can get a little, frustrated. Like they look at the cons as a negative, and it discourages them. But this is not to discourage you. We're going to go over the pros and the cons so that you can feel empowered to know the risks and know and plan ahead. So just wanted to give that caveat before. No discouragement allowed here.
Yeah, think of it as an intelligence report on something that you may need to consider, so that you can take it head on, as opposed to something just smacking you in the face out of the blue.
Absolutely.
So I got number 1 here. The first one is a retail apparel store. These are going to be stores that sell things like shoes, clothing, jewelry, or the like, a little bit more specialty. All right, next one. So the pros of that are going to be high margins on the goods. Definitely want to sell the high margin products. That's what we lead with all the time. It's just, you want to lead with your highest margin product and have those. Another thing is minimal licensing. You don't need to get, necessarily have some type of specified skill, or like we do the wellness thing. We were looking at bringing in IVs, and you needed all this licensing, and it just wasn't applicable for our model. It really wasn't. The next thing is it scalable? And that's also very key too, right? Just figure out, are you going to be able to scale this? Because as you look to grow your business, sometimes you kind of run out of, like we're at in Capel, is just we've run out of square footage.
Yeah.
So you need to go ahead and scale that is one of the pros of it. And then it's a lower startup cost, right? You're pretty much just paying rent and product, right? I mean, that's really, and those are the 2 most important things. Those are the 2 most important things. Some of the cons, obviously, right? The changing styles and trends. And we'll kind of get into this a little bit, but you need to be cognizant of those. But so keep that in mind. And like we said earlier, these aren't anything to discourage you. It's seasonal, as well as theft. Seeing an uptick in that a little bit, just something to consider. We do a lot of brick and mortar, or obviously we do a lot of brick and mortar, but we do with the retail sales, and we have a lot of products that are easily moved. Let's put it that way. So it is something that we have addressed. It is something that we and you want to know this. You're going to make it easy for somebody to snatch something as you're developing your store.
Yeah.
This could be some things that could be fixed with changing layouts in the store, or you're just changing your customer experience. It's not, to think that there's some high crime or anything like that. But you just want to,
Yeah.
dig in on that for sure.
Yeah.
Which you're making the balance between, right? Like we said, that excellent customer experience and also the security of your products.
Right. And these are all things you can plan ahead for, but you
Right.
have to be aware of them.
Right.
With the changing trends and styles, it's really important to focus on your inventory management, how much inventory you have at a time. With seasonal, are you staying on top of the seasons? And, what was cool last winter may not be cool again this winter, or maybe you might have more of an influx in volume around, Black Friday. So you just got to plan for that in your budget. So these are things that we want to bring your attention, so you plan ahead. With theft, that's something every store deals with, but security systems are available and there's ways to get around that.
Hire really jacked, really fast employees for no, I'm kidding.
How fast can you
How
run?
fast can you run them down?
Oh, goodness. All right, so number 2 is the specialty store. So if you are one of my specialty store peeps, tell us what kind of store you're opening. These are going to be like when we opened a CBD store, we were a specialty store. We're focusing on one category of goods.
Right.
So think of your bookstores or your pet stores. What else would there be? Like your hardware stores. You're focusing on one category, but you're highly specialized in that category.
Right.
So the pros of this category is obviously, you're never going to guess this. Oh, bakery, that's highly specialized. Spiritual healing boutique, bridal boutique. Yes, very specialized there. Love that. So obviously the pros of this is your specialization and expertise. People are going to come to you for your specific knowledge and expertise in this area. And also with that, you can have a much more consultative experience. Typically, you can go a little deeper because you don't have such a wide variety of offerings.
Right.
Some of the cons would be, obviously, you're not going to necessarily have a large variety in your store. If you're just focusing on CBD, we would have people coming to us asking us for other wellness products. We eventually added a lot of those in.
We did.
But,
yeah.
that sometimes you don't need to do that, but you will have to figure out a way to offer that variety in what you offer. You're also going to rely heavily on the market. So that's why it's important in this category to understand the demand in your local area. Is there enough demand for that specialty? You want to make sure that you understand that from the beginning so that you're not taking as high of a risk as needed. So.
Hey, Brandy with the custom candles, I love that idea with some customer engagement, all the specialization and stuff. She's for the chat. I saw
That's
that.
cool.
That was pretty cool. Yeah, we were looking at doing like a bath salt one. That was pretty neat. It was a little bit more interactive and made custom bath salts.
Oh, cool. Handcrafted, hand painted. Yeah, absolutely. That is definitely home decor and gifts would be a specialized store. Love that. Custom wedding dresses. Amazing. Beauty supply store. Love this. Awesome. All right. Number 3, Kyle, you got this one?
Service industry stores. These are companies that offer services, obviously, such as restaurants, auto repair shops, hair salons, spas, our little wellness center, all that good stuff. So yeah, these are your services, which I love services.
Yeah.
I love services. Gives us an opportunity to interact. I'm a big fan. The best part about the services is it's minimal inventory to be able to put these services on. You're not having to, stock $50,000 worth of, I don't know, whatever product, or anything like that. Services are also in high demand. Getting people to do things for you is in high demand. And the other great part about it is you really build a relationship with your clients and return business. It gives you an opportunity to pivot yourself as that trusted advisor and to really interact with them as you guide them through the process. It really helps, and it really helps you turn them on to other things in your business as well to develop that return business. So I love, the high demand and high margin. I love the services. I'm super stoked we added those. Cons, it's going to be a little bit higher startup costs with a little bit more equipment, things of that nature, licensing, stuff like that. And another big con is the employee turnover. When we first started, it was tough to find good service providers. And you have to manage that a lot differently. So we've moved a little different towards, we do a little bit more machines, I would say. So we've taken a little bit of that out, but it was definitely a struggle. But with that being said, that was one of the top, you know, top things that we had to kind of concentrate on was hiring and stuff like that. Before you would have to be a lot more proactive with it, let's put it that way.
Yeah, we would almost overhire so that we always had people there for, calling in and things like that.
Yep, for sure, for sure.
All right, moving on to number 4, and the final brick and mortar business type is your grocery store. I know we all go to the grocery store multiple times, but this can be big or small. A lot of us are used to those big chain grocery stores, but you can also have those smaller grocery stores where you're just offering a general range of food and beverage products. So the pros here is obviously food and beverage is a necessity. People need this. This is where they will frequently visit, probably at least once a week, sometimes more. So there's a large market for this brick and mortar type. There's also, you can bring a lot of versatility into your business at a grocery store. If you want to start selling, we have grocery stores that sell CBD products, you can do that, whatever's popular or trendy at that moment, you can typically bring it in and it won't alter the state of your business. And some of the cons are going to be the lower margins. So you're typically not going to have high margins on things like food and beverages. So you're going for a high volume play. So you want to sell a lot of something at a low price.
Right.
It's also going to be a ton more SKUs to manage. So you're typically going to see like 1,000 different SKUs rather than maybe just 50 as like a specialty store. So inventory management is something that you're really going to have to pay attention to. And there's also a lot of competition in this space. So really differentiating your experience is going to be key for this business type. Now, these are just the general high-level business types for you to understand.
Right.
And you can be in multiple categories. Our business today, I would say, would be in the specialty and the service category type. So, I'd love to know which brick and mortar business type are you? Tell us what you think in the comments. If it's 2, it could be 2. Which one are you? Ooh. Service.
Yeah, that's where it's at.
Apparel. Retail, love it. Service, hair salon, specialty and service, like the combination there. A lot of specialty and service.
And as we go through, like I would think of if you're a service or a product, I would just think of how you can work that back and forth. You know what I mean? Like that's where can you add that? These are other areas of opportunity.
Yeah. Incredible. Love the variety. It's awesome. Retail, very cool. Awesome. All right. So let's move on. Now that you know the type of business that you're going to open, let's walk you through how to validate your business idea. And the whole reason we're doing this is really so that you can walk forward with confidence here and check all of the boxes. So we're going to be going over 4 different strategies to validate your business, starting with your knowledge and expertise, market valuation, how to evaluate your market, the industry potential, taking a look at the industry and how it's projected to grow over time. And number 4 is just the excitement factor and what it does for you personally. So let's start with number 1.
Number 1 is going to be your knowledge and experience. Okay. First of all, do you have knowledge or experience with this topic? I know this sounds rudimentary, but like, have you done this before? Like, are you going to try to like sell somebody something that you don't know about? Do you care about this? Is this something that you just thought was, I mean, I know that there's a lot of people who go through and just because they read on Business Insider that this is a hot industry. I mean, we dealt with it a ton in CBD, and there were just so many people that didn't know. They didn't know the difference in basics. So you just, you want to make sure that you do at least gain some knowledge, right? And just so you can understand it a little bit more. And the next one is, will you be utilizing your skills and strengths? That's a big thing too as well. Are you good with people? Are you not? And maybe you need to stay in the back of the store, right? Or maybe you're full of it like I am and you're better at front facing with customers. So that's something to be considered. And if not, like, where can you fill those gaps? If you don't have that as much, can you partner with somebody or hire someone else that does? Or, do you have other ways to kind of facilitate your customer experience that lends to your strength? But being honest with yourself in the beginning has to, you just have to.
Yeah, and
You really have to.
I think just taking a look at, hey, what am I good at? Sometimes we don't even take the
Right.
time to really sit down and think about that. And I'll tell you, opening a brick and mortar business, I really discovered a lot of things that I was good at. And there were some things I thought I was good at, but I really wasn't. I came from the sales world, but I found that, having constant conversations with customers was a little overwhelming for me and more on Kyle's expertise. So, I focus a lot more on the back end stuff like the accounting and payroll and things like that. While Kyle was really the front of the business in the face, everybody's always talking about Kyle. It's I might be a little
You love
jealousy
and hate
there.
that all at the same time. But, I mean, like, don't, a lot of people claim to be experts and this, that, and the other, but like, just do yourself a service and your customers a service of, you have to build that knowledge and it has to be believable. And I'm not saying you have to be the number one person ever, but you can only fake it till you make it so much,
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's perfect example of it
Yeah,
all.
when we dealt with Emma, she had no knowledge of cryo, right? I mean,
Yeah, so Emma was a student that we worked with one-on-one, and she came to us and was like, this cryotherapy industry is booming. I want to open. One of the first things we asked her was, well, what do you like about cryotherapy? And she told us that she had never done it. And we were like, what, how are
yes.
you going to
Wait,
talk?
what?
How are you going to talk about this?
Yeah,
Where, how are you going to market it if you've never done it? And you don't understand the benefits. But she saw a lot of growth potential there in the industry, and she had a strong skills and strengths and a business
well, she was a
background.
business for
Yeah.
sure. She was, yeah,
So we encouraged her to find someone, whether it was just going to be their general manager or a full partner that was aware of the wellness industry, at least to be able to provide that. And so she wound up partnering with someone that had done a ton of cryotherapy and other services and was a bit more of an expert. So, partnering or leveraging someone that is knowledgeable in that space is a great way. And it goes the other way too. If you are highly skilled and knowledgeable on that product or service, but maybe the business part isn't your thing, consider, bringing someone in or partnering with somebody that's maybe more knowledgeable on that side.
for sure. So having the knowledge and experience on the product or service you are selling does not mean you need to be an expert. It does not mean you need to be, the top dog here or whatever, but,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's a balance to it for sure.
Yeah. I think some people, when we start to talk about this, they get overwhelmed thinking, oh gosh, I need to be an expert, but
They get discouraged. You have these, right? Like now, like everybody thinks they're an expert or they don't. It's like, you have to have some middle ground here. Like, you have to be realistic with yourself.
right.
And we talk about this all the time. You just need to have that 10% edge.
Yeah.
So I don't know everything, but I know more than my customers.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I know a
Little bit more.
little bit more. We opened the service thing right when COVID started.
Mhm.
And everybody's like, oh my gosh, that was so bad. And it's a float. It was our float. We do the sensory deprivation float tanks. And I had floated. I enjoyed it. I liked it. But because of COVID and we weren't able to open it right away, I was able to get in there and float all the time. And that was such a blessing because I got to learn so much more about it. And it made me so much better at being able to sell it
And talk
and
about
it facilitated. It just did. So, like I always tell them, I don't know everything. I know what not to do, but I know more than they do. And that's kind of where you got to be.
You just need that 10% edge. If you can just stay knowledgeable and up to date on 10% more than your customers, then you are golden. When they walk in their store and they can ask you questions, you can be their trusted advisor to help them. All right, moving on to strategy number 2, which is going to be your market valuation. Now, I don't want you to get overwhelmed here. You can do this very easily. You can research your local market. You don't have to go find super in-depth, market reports. You can simply drive around and go scope out what is there that's similar to you, what is there that is doing the exact same thing as you. Identify your competition, go visit them, go explore what they offer, what maybe they're missing. Tomorrow, we are going to dive into how to differentiate yourself, and we're going to share some strategies with you on really how to scope out your competition so that you
Right.
can differentiate yourself. So we'll get in a little deeper there. But at a high level, I just want you to identify, are there 15 different people that are doing the exact same thing as me, and are all of their stores empty? Because if so, we might need to take a step back and look at, hey, maybe I need to look at something totally different, or maybe I just need to offer something totally different. So going and really evaluating what is available in your local market and how they're doing it and how you're going to be different is key. So if there is a lot of competition, understanding what's going to differentiate you will be vital for this category. But primarily, what I want you to do to research your local market is just go see what's available that's similar to what you're offering.
You can pull reports and stuff like that too. I guess one thing I would be careful of, just consider the source on all this
Yeah.
stuff. Somebody's like, they, I always go back to the hemp industry, but like, they funded this thing was like $90 billion by 2023, and it was just a big ploy to get everybody to invest in cannabis, and it didn't, I don't know, and you wanted to just be careful, as all I'm saying is consider the source.
Absolutely. All right, so one thing that I love to do to survey your market is actually sending out a survey, a poll, or starting a discussion. So if you already have an online business or a mobile business or a business in general, you're just not in brick and mortar yet. And if you have customer data like emails or phone numbers, send out a survey with asking them questions. Hey, would you be interested in seeing my business in a brick and mortar? Let's say I'm opening a bagel shop. What kind of variety of bagels would you like to see? How frequently would you come buy bagels from me? Ask those
Right.
questions. If you don't have customers already that you can contact with a survey, find a local Facebook group. There's tons of like local community Facebook groups, or use the Nextdoor app.
Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, just start a discussion on those pages, asking those questions. Would a let's see what we have. Would a bakery excite you if I brought that to our local community? It's a great way just to validate and also start that word of mouth about your business coming. But great way just for you to gain that confidence that, hey, my community wants this business. They're interested in this business. They will come visit me in this business. So highly encourage just a simple post, right? Create a simple post that you can put out there in your local community to gain some feedback. And you might be surprised, people will come back and say, hey, I would love a bakery, but I really love X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And maybe you weren't even thinking about X, Y, and Z, and now you can. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there. I know I was so nervous in the beginning to put myself out there, but the more you do, the more feedback you're going to obtain and the better it's going to be for your
Sure.
business.
Mhm.
Mhm. All right, number 3.
Industry potential. Okay, let's get this one fired up here. Industry research is an ongoing process. It doesn't need to be done all in one day. All I think you guys should do for now is set aside 30 minutes to an hour to just kind of dive in and take a look at the industries in general. Start with simple Google searches and then kind of go from there. How we look at it is, right, trade publications, government reports, competitor analysis, and market reports. This goes back to that other point that I made. Consider the source always, right? Because sometimes we see what we want to see, but really take that into account. And if you're seeing the market trends at this, that, and the other, they're going down, they're this, just be real cognizant of that and be really, really careful. That's all I say. You should constantly monitor your industry to stay informed.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So how you stay informed? Industry associations, online forums and social groups, trade shows and events, podcasts and YouTube channel. That's another thing. If you're looking for like validation or your whole like, are you serious enough about this? Like, are you listening to podcasts about this? Like, what is your, that's a true teller, like, of where you're located, like where you're at. Like, we listen to all kinds of podcasts like that in the wellness industry constantly. And like, it was easy for me to find that passion. So to kind of revert back a little bit. But one thing we did with the CBD thing was the industry associations. We were huge with that.
Yeah.
And we hung around a lot and actually found our niche within there. There was a lot of people who was just champions of the plant, which was great, but nobody had our niche of this retail business. So we were able to kind of pivot and be that way, right? So that was our into a lot of these people. And then we were able to figure out like we even talk to politicians now, was how crazy it is. And that allowed us to develop, just meet more people and get to know and use people as a resource. It doesn't always have to be a specific,
Mhm.
specific paper report or something that you pull up. You can get a ton of information on your industry from people that have been in there before.
Yeah, when we first got started, I'll be honest, like Kyle probably did a lot of research on the cannabis industry, if you know what I'm saying, but I was not familiar with the cannabis industry at all. And, I was able to lean on his experience with that, but I had a lot to learn. And we went out there and found, online Facebook groups that were just like CBD retailers,
Right.
or we would go to trade shows. There was tons of trade shows out there and events that we got to get involved in. And it has really helped us staying involved over time. We're stay up to date on laws and legalities that are changing. We know when new things are coming. So whatever your industry might be, go find those things so that you can stay informed. What are the styles that are changing and how are they projected to grow? And
Well, there's there product shortages? What is, like the price of hemp went down. So we found more opportunity to buy more products and stuff like that. They were able to make that move. You need to know like all the way through kind of your supply chain.
Yeah.
It's good to know all that.
Yeah.
It really is.
The more you can learn and see what other people are doing, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's great. So, like we said, this is an ongoing process. You don't need to, understand fully your industry overnight, but we do recommend finding these small ways that you can just stay informed over time. All right, number 4, and this is my favorite way to validate your business. I think it's so important, and it's the excitement factor. And I already see like so many of you in the Facebook group that I can tell that this business excites you. And I love that because it's so important. I think when we think about opening a business on the business side, it it can sound great, maybe financially, but does it actually light you up? This doesn't have to be your everyday hobby, which it can be, but it does need to excite you because you're going to be doing this for a long time, hopefully, and you're going to be spending a lot of hours talking about this and focusing your energy. So this needs to be something that you do have some sort of passionate about.
And nobody's going to be telling you to get up out of bed.
Yeah.
It relies on you.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be excited about it. And you're making an investment in this, especially in a brick and mortar. You're signing a lease for years. I mean,
Yeah.
some of the 5, 10, whatever, however many years, something to consider, obviously. But in the middle of year 3.5, when, like, are you going to get out of bed?
Yeah.
I mean, does it excite you to get out of bed? This stuff excites me. So I wake up before my alarm goes off every day. And because it excites me. What we've built excites me, and I'm curious to see what we're gonna go through to the next day.
Yeah,
I love it, for
absolutely.
sure.
Yes. So don't forget about that. All right. So the 4 strategies were your knowledge and expertise. Do you have some sort of experience or knowledge in this category? Number 2 was, how many people in your market are already doing this? What is the market? Is there demand for that? And we encourage you to put out surveys, obtain feedback from your local community. Number 3 was your industry potential. So understanding your industry and utilizing ways to get involved in your industry so that you can stay knowledgeable on that. And number 4 is the excitement factor. Does this light you up? Is this something that you can see yourself doing and talking about daily for a long, long time to come? So tell us, what is one thing that you are going to commit to taking action on today? One thing that you want to do? Are you going to go research your market, maybe just drive around and see if anybody else is doing that similar thing. Are you gonna put a post out there in your local community and try to get feedback? Are you gonna journal maybe about, does this excite me? You know, is this really what I see myself doing? Yeah, what is that one action? Put it in the chat. Let's see. Post for feedback. Love
Nice.
that. Survey current customers. Awesome.
Surveys are so key.
Yes, meeting with a business lawyer. Let's go.
The cereal bar,
Yeah.
Corey, I love it, man.
Research your market and location. Awesome. Love that. Connect with the chamber. Yes, the chamber is a great way to get feedback.
Chamber's a good way for new businesses for sure.
Feedback from social media. Check out trade shows. That's a great
There you go.
idea. Social media, research your market.
When you check out those trade shows, check and see what other people are doing good and bad too. That's really
Yes,
good, 'cause
yes.
that's where the opportunity is.
Yes, love this. That's awesome. All right, guys, we're gonna dive into some Q&A now. So if you have some questions, it doesn't have to be about this topic. It can be about anything. So get those questions in the chat. We're gonna spend about 30 minutes doing questions. And then tomorrow we will be focusing on the 4 key decisions. So tomorrow we have a ton of information. We're going to pack it into a small amount of time. So you don't want to miss tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to take everything that you've learned today, but a little bit deeper, focusing on things like your budget and your target customers, really how to differentiate yourself. So make sure you mark your calendar for tomorrow. So let's start with some questions. What do we have, Kyle? It looks like Marion asked, how can I obtain a 501c3 status for my organization? So I will be honest with you, Marion, we don't like to dive into much legal or accounting questions. Just because we are not experts in that area, but I will say I would contact a lawyer. If you have anybody that you can chat with, they can typically help you and tell you what you need to know for your organization to how to get there and the exact steps that you need to take to do that.
Or just apply. It's the worst that can happen. You say no.
All right, we've got, how can you use social media to drive foot traffic? Excellent question. Okay, so there's a couple of things that I'll say here, and then I'm sure Kyle will have some insight too. Number one is definitely I've found with social media, you gotta go live on camera. Get in your stories live, get on Facebook and Instagram,
Consistency.
whatever,
Yeah.
live on camera. People are so much more likely to watch video. So if you can push through that comfort zone and do that, I think you will see an increase in views. A couple things for Instagram that I really have found helpful is really ensuring that you're taking advantage of using your local location. So you can tag your location on Instagram. Like anytime I post, I make sure that it says in Coppell, Texas. So anybody in that area is likely seeing that post. You can also utilize like local hashtags like hashtag Coppell, Texas, hashtag DFW. I think somebody said bridal. So you could do like hashtag Dallas Bridal, using those hashtags will help you stay relevant in your local community. Let's see what else. Definitely encouraging some interaction there. Oh, anytime somebody comes to our business and uses a service or product, we encourage them to check in. I think it's a great way for us to get visible to new people online. So in the beginning, we would offer like, hey, we'll give you a 10% discount if you check in. Now we just ask, and a lot of people want to. We also have like photo areas within our business that encourage people to use a certain hashtag or take a picture and post it. And people love those interactive experiences. And when people do that, they definitely are more visible.
Yeah, I'll just straight up tell people to share. I'm like, hey, as a business owner, the best thing you can do for me is leave me a review, like, share, post, but also create something that these people are going to want to share, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Like people want to show that they went to this experience or give an experience that's worthy of sharing.
Yeah.
That's another thing too.
And then the last, I could probably talk about this topic for a long time, but the last one I'll say before we move on is is definitely look for those local community Facebook groups. I'm in those all the time. Like we have moms of Flower Mound, moms of Coppell, or we've got
I
like
wanna get the moms.
all groups
Yeah,
or
the moms are good. Yeah.
dad's group. I would join the dad's group. I just
Sure.
haven't seen one, but
Yeah,
those groups and a lot of those pages will let you post your business offerings like one day a week. So I go on there and I make sure that I talk about and I also engage with other people. So that's another way to utilize it, social media. Okay, let's move on.
long-term lease.
How do you deal with the apprehension of signing a long-term lease for 5 years? That is a tough one. And you want to start?
5 years is gonna fly by.
It does, but I know that feeling.
Yeah, I'm like, holy, I was like, really? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. You would have to look at the individual space too, right? I mean, is it something that you're dead set and, you know, all these other things are they're gonna work? I mean, yeah, it's 100%, but we also like the store that we kept now, we could pivot and move too as things change. Like you can move, right? If you have this space, you cannot move physically, but I'm talking like move your direction of things that you're gonna sell, your product offerings, this, that, and the other. There's ways like we've we've just adapted so much
Yeah.
that it started as one thing and now it's just grown to this thing that's bigger and bigger and bigger. And we're so better and we offer so much more than we did 5 years ago. We
Yeah.
just did. And the space lended to that,
Yeah.
really.
I would say, I know it can be tough to commit to 5 years. I would, go back and validate your business idea using these strategies. And that should help you feel the confidence to know, you know what, I have something that this market needs. I've got something that I'm knowledgeable and I have experience doing. It excites me and there's industry potential here. And knowing that can hopefully give you comfort that you're moving forward in the right direction. And I'll tell you, our first business, we only signed a 3-year lease. So
Right.
if they do have that available, it doesn't hurt to ask. You can sometimes get better discounts with 5 years.
Or a big
But-
TA, yeah.
Which, the next time we signed, we did go with a longer lease so that we could get a lower rate. But in the beginning, we were a little cautious because our industry was very volatile and roller coaster at the time. So we did want to protect ourselves. And then lastly, like Kyle said, you do want to make sure that you are projected to grow long term. So if your space is not going to support the growth of your business over the next 5 years, you want to evaluate that. So make sure that if you want to add in a cafe into your retail apparel store in 3 years, that your space can support that. Whatever ideas and visions that you have in mind, just make sure that for the 5 years that space can support you there.
Yeah, it's just it's a place for you, right? I mean, it's how you use it as your platform, right? And we've used levers and stores for all types of different things. So I get the apprehension of 5 years seems holy cow, like a long time, but you get so much better, you learn your niche, and then you could either double down or you can pivot.
Yeah.
You really can pivot.
We've seen people open with one thing and completely change. And
Right.
so you have the ability to do that. Most of the time.
That's a great question. That's a
Yeah.
great question.
Awesome. All right,
College town, huh?
Alicia.
Seasonal college town.
You know,
Get
get
the
that?
locals. Currently have a brick and mortar boutique in a college town. Business dies down when kids go home. What are some ways to get locals into the store while kids are gone to maintain sales?
I like it. What you got?
What you got?
Let's see. Business dies down when kids go home. What are some ways to get locals in the store? Well, kids are gone too. Okay, so you're selling, is it clothing, like a clothing boutique? You can put that in the chat. Let me know what type of store, but I would recommend definitely seeing if there's other businesses that have high traffic that you can partner with. So one thing that I would do is go find what is busy. Clothing, home
Yeah.
decor, and baby. So are there other similar businesses that have a similar audience as you?
Right.
See if you can partner with them to either maybe have them do a pop-up in your store so customers, they can drive their customers into your business, or vice versa. You do a pop-up in their store where you take some of your stuff and drive traffic. They help drive traffic to your business. Something else I would say is definitely because of that, I would factor that in that busy season and budget accordingly. You're just gonna know that it's going to be slower.
Yeah, there's gonna be some
Yeah.
seasonality to that regardless. You just don't wanna have the ding as high, right?
Yeah, yeah. Also, any sort of festivals or events during the summer that are going on, that's heavy festival and event season. So
Right.
see if maybe you can get involved in some of those things, places that there are already high traffic that maybe you can take your business to, is a great way. Yep, somebody just said that conventions, pop-ups. Yep, yep. What else? Anything?
No, that's, I mean, for sure, you just wanna run it like you would and just focus more on that.
Yeah.
Cash flow accordingly.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. Okay, LaShonda, what's the average time for a new business before they start to see a return
Day
on
one.
sales?
No.
This is definitely a tough question to answer because we've seen a very large variety here. I will tell you, if your startup costs like places like apparel or, product-based businesses that don't maybe have as much of an upfront investment, you can obviously get your return pretty quickly. Places that like services that maybe have large equipment that's going to be like $100,000 to $200,000, you may not see your return for a year. In our experience, we've always been able to find very, very small ways to open our businesses. Our first business we opened for around 28,000 total, and that included our franchise fee. And we were able to see a return within the first 4 months.
Well, I mean, you should start seeing a return, the day you open your store, right? But I'm talking of like,
I'm
when
sorry.
will you make
Make that initial
when will you
investment
make that initial investment back? Like, we've done some stores, like, it depends on the industry, so we've done some stores, but we made it back like super quick, like, we did, what, 40, 50 grand the first month we had,
Yeah.
and sort of paid all that back, so
every business
it
is
depends
going
on
to
the
be
margin of
different.
product, there's a
Yeah.
lot of factors there as far as time, but I mean, you should look quick, like in the beginning, when we talk about this, I'm gonna spend money on inventory and marketing, and that's it.
Yeah,
That's it, everything else is done with elbow grease and cans of paint, like,
yeah,
and just focus on that, just that, one of the biggest things is like, you're gonna want, like, not getting that number super high that you have to make all that up. If you just focus on the things that drive money, how am I, you look at everything that you're gonna do is, what is my ROI on this? And if there's no ROI and it doesn't make sense, don't do it.
yeah,
Just don't, flat out, don't do it.
yeah. I think how, like, one of the biggest things that we advocate and we talk about all the time is starting simple. The simpler you can start, you can get fancy down the road. You can add all the, high-end stuff down the road, but start simple, start efficient, start cheap,
Right.
whatever way you can,
There are ways to cut corners.
yes. And that way, once you start seeing that return and building your sales and momentum, you can add things in down the road, but figure out what is it that I absolutely need to get the doors open without all the fluffy stuff.
Yeah.
And go with that.
Get good with a paintbrush.
Yes. All right, Corey wants to know, have you heard of a cereal cafe before? Yeah, I have not, have you?
Yeah, I have.
What is
I have.
that? Is it like
Breakfast
cereal?
spot, yeah. the whole
That's
thing.
cool.
Yeah, I've seen some,
Like,
I saw one, it was a pretty cool concept. It was like almost like a candy shop, like Willy Wonka and stuff. It was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool.
yeah,
It is
yeah.
super-
That is really cool. Love that.
yeah, it is
I'm gonna
cool.
have to go check that out. Okay, how do you find local hashtags? So I go search my city and look for those. I would start with just typing in hashtag Dallas wherever your city is and seeing what pops up. A bunch will pop up underneath there. It'll say like hashtag Dallas photographers, hashtag Dallas events.
Right.
And so just go look at that list and see if there's anything that's relevant to your business. If you are a camera shy person, what is some advice that helps a person still go live? I get it. I get it. That was me for sure.
Do it.
A couple things, yes. But just just do it. You know what? If it's awful and you hate it, you can delete it and hopefully,
Right.
you know, nobody's on. But I like to write down, what I'm going, like bullet points,
Right.
and just put it up on the wall in front of me or on the computer in front of me. So I start with like some just general store announcements, you know, what are some new products? What are some new services? Maybe if you have a sale or an event
Yeah.
coming up, start with just general announcements.
What's your elevator pitch?
Yeah,
Yeah, get your elevator pitch
It
down and start there.
it doesn't have to be long, something simple. Or if you want to start off by just talking about your story or your favorite product or service. There's so many different things that you can do. Just start simple and don't try to make them super long in the beginning. Just short, sweet, simple ways to go live, and writing out those bullet points can really be beneficial. And don't be afraid to practice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
practice.
Yeah.
You have to, when I first started selling, I was on the phones and stuff like that. We used to have to listen to ourselves on the
Yeah.
phone calls, but I hated it. But you got so much better about it. And then after a while, you just kind of you just go for it, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Love
A
it.
little ignorant,
You
just
got
ignorant.
this.
You got this.
Believe
Yeah,
in
just
you.
try it. Just try it.
Okay, Melanie wants to know, how can you keep momentum in an oversaturated, overpriced market like Nashville has become?
Differentiate yourself. Why is somebody going to drive by their store to get to your store?
Mhm.
Flat out.
Yeah,
Is it, do you have a product that somebody else doesn't have? Is it a killer, you know, do you have this knowledge, or do you have a killer customer experience? 100%.
yeah,
100%. We have people who try to do what we do. What is there? 7 hemp stores in our little city, and we just crush them
yeah,
because you have to focus on it all starts from the beginning of what your differentiator is.
yeah.
You have to focus on your differentiator.
We're gonna dive in tomorrow on
Yeah.
exactly how to differentiate yourself, but that was our biggest concern when we moved in, and we were the first CBD store in our town. And you know what? We have
Yeah.
7 within a mile. We counted the other
Yeah.
day. Within a mile of us, we have 7 CBD stores. And you know, we've never seen a huge dip in our sales as they've all come in. And you know, that's because we've always been able to tailor our services. We provide a completely different experience that nobody can touch. And we definitely continue to adapt and change our offerings.
And we check those people out too, to know
Yeah.
what they do or how they're moving and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong. I mean,
Yeah, oh, we go scope them out every
we
time they
scope them
open.
out for sure.
Yeah,
Like, we got people like,
Yeah,
yeah, I got people on the ground. Yeah,
Yeah.
but no, don't, you have to, and don't, if you're open, like, I don't print on competition as much. People come in and say this, that, and the other. It doesn't matter. Your mentality and your energy and your headspace, which is limited, needs to be focused not on them, on you. You have to get your right, and that drives you. I mean, it's driven me. When they opened across the store or across the street, I made sure we were open an hour before every time they were open. We just were. It
Yeah.
honestly motivated us considerably. So don't grip too much on that. Do you?
yeah,
Mhm.
and know that what you're offering is valuable
Right.
and there is a need for it. And so don't get discouraged by other people offering something similar.
Right.
Know that you can differentiate yourself and offer something that can stand out above other people. I know how scary that is when you see competition, and but I can assure you that it is possible, even if it seems like there are a lot of people.
Imitation is the highest form of flattery, right?
Yes, yes. Okay, Laura would like to know, when in the process of starting a business, do you start looking at location? So tomorrow, one of the 4 key decisions is just selecting your location radius, which is where you're just gonna start looking. So we'll walk you through how to do that tomorrow. I would say in the very beginning, if you are just starting out, the first thing that you want to do is go through what we're going through in this boot camp. This is really laying a foundation and helping you go through all of those basics and key components. The next thing is getting that business plan on paper, and making sure that you understand all of the needs that you have. But on Thursday, we will be going over how to look for locations and what to look for in a location. And personally, I don't think it's ever too soon to start looking at locations.
No.
Finding a location can be a lengthy, long
But
process.
it's fun.
So starting that, even just scoping out what's
Yeah.
available and just start noticing, hey, that's something that I would like in a business, or that's something I would not like in a location, and we'll get more specific on that. So that's a great thing. Good question. Okay, what do we have?
Somebody.
Okay. Interested in opening a custom wedding dress boutique with both products and services. Love that. I would love to publish a wedding magazine, which includes services from local pros and space in my shop, plus my own collections. We would do parties, shows, live streams, etc.
Yes.
Love that.
Yes.
How do you suggest I start looking for pros to take part and make sure I'm providing value for everyone? Love what you're thinking there,
Yeah.
Danny. The versatility and the very experiential experience that you're already thinking about is phenomenal.
Sure.
That's key to a brick and mortar's business success, is having all of that. So great thoughts there. So finding pros, I would kind of go back to like looking at your industry. Are you looking for people that are just within your industry, I'm assuming?
I mean, your community, right? I mean, you should, who does it right, right? I mean, that's who we
Yeah.
partner with. I mean, like, I'm not, and as we've provided more, gotten more clout, like, we don't work with everybody. Like,
Yeah.
what is, you need to be, I always say, shit where you eat, sorry, but like, I eat lunch in Capel. I train in Capel. I know the vibe, like, we spend as much time as we can in there because we're part of that community. We shop there, we do this. We know, you got to know who does it right and who doesn't do it
Yeah.
right. The only way you're going to know that is by just being out there and being involved in these groups, being involved in the local stuff. We go to football games, we go to, I'm at the park and stuff. We know
Yeah.
who has that. You know what I'm
I
saying?
would check out businesses if there's somebody that you would think it's an expert in this space. Go get to know them, have coffee with them, go visit their business if they have a brick and mortar, and then utilize your chamber. A lot of chambers will let you go to a couple of events for free before
Yes.
you join. So go get connected with your chamber and try to meet people there. And you can also just ask the chamber, hey, do you have any experts that are local in this space? That's a great way to get connected. And yes, if there are any groups, go up on like meetup.com or just search for Facebook groups within your community that are in your industry, and you should be able to network in that way.
Yeah, and then provide them value and then they reciprocate. That's the deal. So photographers and stuff, right? I mean, who has the best reviews?
Photographers are your main focus. Awesome. Yeah. So I would definitely hit up your chamber, see if there's any photographers in your chamber. Look and post on any Facebook group communities, but get to know them first before you just offer them that opportunity.
Check out their
Because
work. I'm sure
yeah.
they post work,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
if their website or the work that they do doesn't align with yours, then
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I made that mistake in the beginning. Like I just trying to get businesses to come do a pop-up with us, and
Yeah,
then they
right.
showed up and I was like, oh no, like they just weren't representing themselves very well. And so definitely take the
Have
time to evaluate
conversations with
them. Yeah.
them, talk to their people that they've worked for, stuff like that.
All right, let's keep moving along. Great stuff, Danny. Trina, when should you start advertising your brick and mortar after getting the keys to the space, but before completing the build out? Trina, I don't think it's ever too soon. Like I
Yeah.
said, even putting out a survey right now before you even have your space,
Yeah.
talking about it, like,
Start capturing data.
yeah, or like any way that you can just start
Yeah.
generating momentum or a buzz, people will follow you if they know, oh my gosh. And even if it's a year from now and you say, hey, I want to open a bakery in a year, I'm super excited. What's your favorite pastry?
Yeah.
Like just go ahead and start building a buzz and people will start following you. And then they're also going to hold you accountable and say, hey,
Right.
when's that bakery? But it's never too soon. And then once you do get the keys, document your whole build out process. We love documenting our build out process. It gets people so excited to watch that process. Like, oh, look, it's an empty space, but she has that space. So it's never too soon to start talking about. I wouldn't do any like actual marketing unless you can direct them to like wouldn't go paying for marketing until unless you have like an online store you can guide people to. But you can start generating momentum through any sort of social media or, building your business profiles, things like
As long as there's like, I think you start, capture data, that's the biggest thing.
yes.
Build your customer list.
Okay, let's see.
Licensed mobile business, right?
Okay. Would there be any way to know what kind of license a mobile business needs?
Yeah, ask one.
Um, yeah, so I would start with going to your city hall and asking them what business licenses you need.
Or I would, somebody else does it in the area,
You ask them to.
I would ask them, or I would, I don't know if it's mobile,
Yeah.
whatever. Buy one of their services, spend the
Yes.
money we got for services, like, hey, are you licensed? Yeah. Well, what's the license? Or just pick their brains, and I'm super interested, don't make it seem, creepy or whatever, but yeah, I mean, that's what we did too. I was like, hey, well, this is awesome, and while I was there, it was like, oh, this is cool,
Yeah.
do you guys have a license? And then it just kind of spurred from there.
Yeah.
And I have no problem asking, what's they gonna say? Kit rocks.
Yeah. It will say anytime we open a business, I go down to the city, their building inspections department. I know you're talking about mobile, but I make best friends with them because they are going to walk you through the entire permit and licensing process, and so they are vital. So go talk to your city about the licenses and permits that you need. To get that going.
Good call, Brian, too. Yeah, SBA for sure.
Yes. Yes.
Sure. But yeah, I mean, I'd ask a guy that does the same thing.
Okay, what are some difficulties that you have run into building your business along with your significant? Man, that's a good one. I love it. I would say, in the beginning, it was, in the beginning, I still worked a 9 to 5 and Kyle worked the store full time. So navigating that took some time to get used to.
Yeah.
I think just the dynamic of not taking your business. We had I think the hardest thing in the beginning was not taking our business home with us. Like we talked about our business nonstop. We were at our business nonstop. That's all we did 24/7. So finding something else to talk about and do together was definitely
It's
vital.
something positive too. I mean, yeah, every night we were driving around looking at locations and stuff. It was fun to build that with them. But yeah, no, you're right. You have to, we almost schedule, like when we do like Thursdays for us, when we do the
Yeah.
podcasts and stuff, is something that we try not to,
Yeah.
we try to save things for them and almost make it a meeting. And
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's almost like Thursdays are kind of like our days for that.
Yeah, scheduling that time to do business stuff and non-business stuff is definitely key. And I also think just having a general, letting each other know when we appreciate each other and how
Yeah.
hard they've worked at
Yeah.
the store is key because you don't have it can be easy to just keep going in the grind and not show that
Right.
support and appreciation.
Right, and you have to take a 30,000 foot look sometimes too and say, hey, one of you can drive, the other one can drive too. You're helping each other out.
Yes. Thanks for asking
That's a
that
good
question.
though, yeah.
Kind of stumped me for a minute. Octavia, what is a minimum amount of money needed for opening a brick and mortar, from leasing, inventory, insurance, advertising, marketing, signage? It does depend on your industry, but I will tell you tomorrow, one of the key decisions that we're going to help you make is figuring out your startup budget. And we've got a cheat sheet for you to go determine exactly what that's going to take. We've seen people that can start up their business for 10K, and we've seen people that it's going to take 200, 300,000. So
Right.
it does depend on your industry, but being able to understand that budget is key in order to get started.
It depends on everything. I mean,
Yeah.
how much inventory you're gonna purchase, what your lease is, what state the place is in. I mean, it's in all of that, which is a great question to figure out where you
Yeah.
need to be early.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, is it a second gen place? Are you
Yes.
building brand new? Like, there's so many factors to it. There really is.
That's perfect. All right, looks like we've got 3 more here. So Lori, if a shop were to fit out of their first niche, would you ever recommend a name change, even if the name is specific to the niche, i.e. the secret kitchen, a specialty food and kitchen
Great
store?
question.
Yeah, so that's like exactly what we
That's where
did.
at, yeah,
So
where we're at right now.
it's totally doable and I do highly recommend it.
Yeah.
So we went from our having CBD in our name and we started to pivot. We added a ton of services, and a lot more products other than just CBD.
Right.
So we completely changed our name to Altered States Wellness.
Yes.
So it was centered around wellness and it no longer locked us into just that CBD category. So highly recommend rebranding if you find that you're evolving. Now, I wouldn't do it like right away, just when things are changing. Make sure that the way that your business has evolved is the direction you want to go long term and it's stable. You know, we changed a lot of things and people for a long time were like, why are y'all called the CBD store? Y'all do so much more. But
It was almost
you
confusing.
needed to validate that those changes that we were making were the direction that we needed to go.
And it made sense too, because we were leading, the name change was leading towards our highest, it was towards the services, which is our highest margin product. I mean, you wanted to, you want to lead with your highest margin product. You just,
Yeah, great question.
That's a good question.
Highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Is it best to lease or buy a building to rehab? That's a tough question. It's different cities can be different. And sometimes it's much more feasible to outright buy in your town or city. And if that's doable, I would say in the very beginning, if this is a brand new business, I typically recommend leasing until you have truly validated that this is a long-term business. But if it is also a great location or you know, if you're able to buy the space, you're investing in property and
right.
and that can be, you know, a way to kind of safeguard you from any sort of risk that you have. So if you have the ability and it makes sense financially, you know, considering buying is not a bad idea.
Yeah, I wish we could buy so that I could pick up all the floors.
All right, Sean, we've got your question. How do you manage getting a lease to work for you? I've seen some extremely restrictive leases. That's a good question, Sean. I'd love to know if there's any like restrictions that you're running into that I could better help you with. I will say you do have to take some time in the negotiation process here. And remember that you do have some power in this process to get what you need out of it. A lot of, you know, these landlords will act real tough, but if you push back, you can typically get them to lift some of these restrictions. But if you're running into any specific restrictions, let me know. And I'm happy to dive into those more
Yeah, we can
specifically.
go a little bit more
We've
specifically.
seen a lot of random odd things over the years with businesses that we have helped, and a lot of times we're able to negotiate our way through them.
And a lot of times it's all in how you pitch your business idea and what you're doing. I mean, we opened hemp license. We help people sign CBD licenses in Texas 5 years ago, so we can.
Yeah.
There's ways to get around it.
Perfect. All right.
1:00.
I think that is all the questions that we have. Is there anything else? No? Perfect. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on day one. Tomorrow, we're diving a little deeper into those 4 key decisions and we're going to get pretty detailed. So make sure you join us live tomorrow at 12 o'clock. Don't forget to look at your workbook and put what you've learned into action today and introduce yourself in the Facebook community if you haven't done so already.
Facebook popping.
Yes.
Love it.
Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you all tomorrow.
Thanks, y'all.